Hey, all you cool cappuccinos and latte lovers, welcome to Exclamation Mark Cafe. We are outside today doing a special shoot with our first ever guest. Welcome, Myra. Can you tell us who you are to me?
I'm your billet mom.
Billet mom.
Billet mom. So you used to play hockey and lived with us in Canmore. So.
That's right. And so today we're doing special Brazil decaf. And I've always said death before decaf, and we'd never do decaf. But you do decaf because
it's health oriented. It doesn't agree with my workings, so
caffeine doesn't agree with your workings. So
no, only in chocolate. Chocolate doesn't seem to mind, but tea and coffee are all decaf.
It's a no-go. So this is the only way to get coffee.
Yes.
So we'll break our rules today, and we'll brew some decaf. Well, while the water's heating up, why don't we talk about your little small business, about like the shaman work that you do?
Yes, I do alternative healing. I do Reiki and shamanic journey work. I do massage therapy, and I'm expanding that all the time. Shaman journey work is about getting in touch with a different layer of yourself. It's identifying with an animal that you can call your power animal or your totem animal, and then it's something that you can connect with. You can connect with the nature of the animal, and you understand how it works, how it likes to live, and that answers usually a lot of questions about how you think about things.
So you did one for me, and
yeah,
I'm a golden eagle.
Yes.
Which is super cool.
Mm-hmm.
And Jackie is a barn animal.
Mm-hmm.
Barn owl.
Barn owl.
Animal owl. That's big. So,
and I'm a white-tailed deer. Mm-hmm.
And you're a white-tailed deer.
Yeah. Shamans have been around for centuries and centuries in all walks of life, all different cultures all around the world. So I feel like this is sort of one of the original bases. So for me, it's more closely related to nature, and I find that a little more spiritual for me. So that's why I work with that.
That's why we're in the garden today.
Yeah.
The Frenchpress. We're going to start with that. We might do an Aeropress because we have so much time and compare the 2 cups of coffee. The Frenchpress is, I pre-ground some beans. Mm-hmm. So this is a dark roast. It's very dark compared to what I usually drink, and it's decaf. So I don't have much experience with this, but the darker roast, you want a lighter level of extraction compared to the lighter roast. So we're going to do the typical weight for the Frenchpress is you want about 30 grams of coffee per 500 milliliters, so 30 to 35 grams of coffee. So because this is a darker roast, we're going to go with 30 grams of coffee for 500 milliliters of water. 500 grams. There you go. And then you just let it sit for 4 minutes. So with the Aeropress, that's the French press grinds. These are the Aeropress grinds.
Much finer.
You can see they're a little finer, but still not super fine. So it's not something you'd use for espresso,
no,
but it's finer than the French press. Mm-hmm. The French press is a full immersion method, so is the Aeropress, but it takes much longer. So you want as a lot coarser, and especially with these dark beans. You can see the oil and stuff. You can see the sheen.
Definitely.
And everything like that. And a French press it's a process. It's something to be enjoyed. So if you're only having a few cups of coffee a week, you can make it a little vacation in a cup. Mm-hmm. Or you could just rush through it and have crappy coffee.
No, that's what I do most times. So this is intriguing for me. I taught you all about wine. Now you can teach me all about coffee.
Yeah, we were going to talk about that. Yeah. So Myra was my billet in Canmore, and Brian, who's behind the camera here, say hello.
Hello.
Brian was managing a restaurant at the time, I believe. He was in charge of putting together the wine cellar. So he'd bring home 2 or 3 bottles of wine every night, and we'd have to taste them, and that's where I developed my highly sophisticated tasting palate.
Your good nose.
Yes, my good nose. No, you aren't supposed to. It smells like dark coffee.
Mm-hmm.
We're coming up on 4 minutes here, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna stir the coffee.
Oh.
So as you can see, the coffee's sitting on top,
Yes.
and when we stir it, it should sink to the bottom. There's gonna be some stuff left on top, and that's the oils and stuff that usually get taken out from the paper filters,
Yes.
and we don't want that because it'll make the coffee bitter.
Okay.
So we're gonna stir it. We'll take this stuff off. Usually you throw it in the sink, but we're in the garden, so fertilizer it becomes.
So just the foam top.
Yeah,
part.
just the
Okay.
foam on top. You don't have to get it all. It's not an exact science.
No.
But now that we've agitated it, the coffee will slowly filter to the bottom. So we wait another 4 to 5 minutes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So we can do an Aeropress. So we're going to do the inverted method today, which means the Aeropress sits upside down. On the scale it goes. And I'll use the spoon here. And we're going to go with 17 grams.
So this process would more normally be used for just like espresso shots.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can do, there's a million different recipes with this. You can brew it right side up. You can brew it upside down. You can leave it in the fridge overnight to brew a cold brew. You can do, like, the inventor uses these numbers on the side, and you can do like half coffee grounds and half water, super fine, to get an espresso shot, and then dilute it with water after to your pleasing. But we tried for months to get like pure espresso out of this, and it's just not quite the same as a espresso machine. But it still makes a great cup of coffee, and it's one of the most versatile coffee makers there is, because like you can do all those different things, and I'm sure you could do them with the Frenchpress as well. Okay, so we're gonna rinse our filter without burning ourselves.
Well done. Safety first.
Safety third. And then make sure you have a level coffee bed, and should tear the scale. Then 200 milliliters of water. That's the basic recipe, and you can play around with it. And you want to try and hit it over 10 seconds. But
Or slowly.
but it's
That's
fun.
a whole other show for you, is all the different makers.
Yeah, so inside, and we'll be doing episodes on, we have a Chemex, which is a pour over, and that's the big bucks in the coffee shops. They do that, and that's a slow process. That's about 3 minutes. We also have a mocha pot, which is like a kind of like a percolator, but it's not quite the same. Well, let's stir this. So then you give this a stir, kind of like the French press, to get all the beans moving through the water. And then you want to press some of the air out for the inverted method. And then you'll see the coffee start to come through the filter. And then you just let it sit there
Okay.
for a little while. And we're almost at brew times for both, will almost line up exactly.
Awesome.
So we're at 8 minutes for the French press. So we'll hammer that. Okay, now when pressing the French press, it's not an Aeropress. You aren't trying to compress the coffee puck at the bottom, because the coffee's not passing through it. So you don't want to squish it, or you'll get nasty flavors. So you just lightly press until all the coffee has come to the bottom, and then you don't hammer it down. So you're just filtering the coffee and water solution. You aren't pressing it. So there's our first one.
You're going to try these with me, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Good.
We'll do earth tones for the French press, gray and white. I think white's an earth tone, isn't it? Sure.
I don't know. I'll go with it. Sure.
And then, yeah, this has been brewing for a minute, so I didn't do that right, but you're supposed to take the cup, put it on top, and then flip to avoid explosions. And then you press this. So this is a darker roast, as I've said, so a little shorter brew time for the darker roast. Little coarser grind, a little shorter brew time. Smells like coffee.
But they smell different. Quite different, actually.
Yeah, I got a favorite.
Well, if it's smelling is a judgment, so would I, but
So one's definitely more extracted than the other.
definitely, yes.
So you're getting more of a full-bodied cup of coffee, and I'm not getting any bitterness. I'm not getting any sourness. For dark roast, it's kind of rolling through the mouth quite nicely.
Yes, and that's the Frenchpress, I think, is the better one.
Oh, I was thinking the Aeropress.
Oh, were you? Oh.
Yeah.
So we're disagreeing.
I don't know, maybe our cups are different.
They shouldn't be. But our palates are probably very different.
Yes.
Because I don't drink so much of the coffee. French press in the gray is probably what I'm accustomed to. And because I drink a lot of just individual cups, which is usually K-cups, Keurigs, that's what I'm accustomed to. This is the Aeropress is much more refined, and I feel like I would probably enjoy this more once I got familiar with it.
Got familiar with it. Okay.
Because I feel like it's a cleaner cup of coffee for sure. Almost has a hint of sweetness to it, to be honest.
Yeah. Aeropress is the more extracted cup of coffee, and you're getting more of the flavors of the bean and the roast in the Aeropress, which I think you could get used to, but
Yes.
in North America we like our drip coffee, and it's kind of like a little blander and more basic.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Oh,
Yeah.
they're both good.
Yeah. I think that surprised you. I'm impressed. I did not expect to see that much of a difference between the two brew processes. That's for sure.